Guys, we got another great key comic flip through. Today's episode, we're going over this bad boy right here, Frank Miller's Sin City, The Hard Goodbye, Curator's Edition. Guys, you do not want to miss this one. Stay around. All right, let's dive into this thing, man. This thing is gigantic. Now, compared to an average comic, I mean, average comic is probably about a fourth of this. This thing is absolutely huge. It weighs a ton as well. We have Frank Miller's Sin City, The Hard Goodbye, Curator's Edition. I believe this thing came out a few years ago, but I finally picked it up online, and it is a hefty boy. So we're going to go page by page, checking this out, man, just kind of appreciating the artwork. And yeah, we'll go over a little bit of the story here and there as well. But man, this thing is gigantic and it's absolutely beautiful. So if you're not familiar with Sin City in general, a lot of adult themes in here. So, you know, if you're not into violence, sex, lots of action, things like that, this might not be the video for you. So let's get into this though. Great splash page to open up here with Marv jumping through the rooftops. Absolutely gorgeous. Just a little taste of what we're going to get into as we flip through these pages. In collaboration with Kitchen Sink Books, we have Dark Horse Comics as well. Lots of good little intros here from a lot of different creators. Jeff Darrow, we have Neil Adams, Jim Lee, Paul Pope, and we have Brian Azzarello over here as well with some quotes and some cool little sketches and little perspective lines too, right? Some grid lines here. Awesome little clip out right here. Again, great introduction page. Let's bust into it. So this is a story of Goldie. We're gonna get into this a little bit more. Again, so many people just kind of shouting out Frank Miller and the contributions he's had to comics in general, being a director, being an artist, being a writer. So this is episode 1, Sin City, and I like all these little notes up at the top here too. It says, please note, frame on this page is for placement only. So I do remember that in the I think the Dark Horse Presents, or even a book like this, there are a couple extra pages in here if I remember correctly. And so there's a difference between like a collected, like a trade format versus reading it in Dark Horse Presents or in their own single issues. And there's some placement pages, so you're going to notice some page count differences and just some additional shots, which is really cool. So Goldie kind of getting with Marv here a little bit. We learn a little bit later about what her motivations actually are. Marv thinks it's just like, you know, he's the luckiest guy on earth, of course. Great silhouette shots. What we're going to be pointing out a lot throughout this book is the fact that he uses a lot of whiteout. So he kind of draws what he wants to draw at first, and then you're going to see a lot of whiteout marks on here as well. Just kind of like fine-tuning some stuff, especially when it comes to hair. You're going to notice a lot of that soon. But man, great silhouette shots here just to open up. Look at that. Now, if you remember, this story, I believe, was originally collected in Dark Horse Presents, later to be combined and added to create the full issues. The other thing here is these aren't one complete pages. Like, he does one panel at a time. So a lot of these are taped together right here. So when you're looking at this version here, you can see the tape lines right there, even the different shades of paper. Of course, Marv just having the time of his life right here. She says her name is Goldie. Classic shot. This is the realization after he wakes up from a long night that she is actually dead. Somebody poisoned her, something like that. Somebody must have come in the middle of the night and taken care of her, left him alive for some reason. And of course, he hears the sirens. You know, someone's been tipped off and he's going to take the blame for it. Got some more great shots. This is one of my favorite panels right here. Frank Miller does this a lot in a couple different stories that he's either drawn or written, where you have this like above shot staircase scene and you see the different policemen or officers, SWAT team members rushing up the stairs. Really cool. Again, you see a lot of that white out over here. And as we get through this some more, I'm going to be talking about perspective a lot, you know, lines of sight, things like that. And this is just a beautiful cinematic shot right here that really sells it, right? And I guess as we kind of get into this, a little bit more about Frank Miller, man, he had a lot of inspirations growing up. Will Eisner, Jack Kirby, a lot of Japanese manga as well. Lone Wolf and Cub, Goseki Kojima was also a big influence on him, again, from Lone Wolf and Cub. Just a lot of crazy stuff. He actually did the intro for that book for the first several pages, maybe even, or first several issues rather, maybe even the first dozen. But yeah, he's a fan of high action, lets the scene kind of tell the story as well. Of course, we have Marv like busting through the door, taking these cops on, dodging some bullets, grabbing some guys, jumping over the balconies, just trying to escape all this gunfire and everything. It's absolutely crazy. Continuing to fall, brutal violence, and just, man, I can't imagine this guy going through all this. He's a gigantic dude too. Very well cast up in the movies. And if you haven't had a chance to watch Sin City, it follows the book pretty closely, man. It's like almost shot for shot in some parts. So I would highly recommend checking that one out. Classic shot right here of him just jumping through the window. And again, you don't need any dialogue on this, man. You know exactly what's happening, and you can feel that pain of jumping through that glass. Really cool. Of course, that shot continues over here, falling down. All the broken glass following him, kind of bouncing around into different bricks. We're going to see a lot of cool brick action up in here very, very shortly, starting over in this panel. All the debris, the trash, and again, those lines of sight, absolutely remarkable that he's able to do that. And then you can see, obviously, it's wider here, and as it tightens down, as it gets further away from your eye, those bricks get a little bit more tighter, and it's just a really good masterclass on, you know, perspective and action scenes. Another really cool scene. I remember this shot in the movie where the police car is coming towards him and he jumps through the window, kind of like doing a leg drop through the window, taking out the cops. Again, it's like tempered glass, and it's a really cool attention to detail spot right here. Tempered glass would shatter in a very similar way, you know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. You don't want panes of glass breaking and then kind of cutting people up. So this tempered glass look is a pretty cool thing that he did right here. Really crazy. If you remember, Mickey Rourke played Marv back in the movie. Tons of great people in that cast. It was really great. Goldie, I believe, was played by Jamie King, if I'm not mistaken. Another great shot right here. He's going through, he drove off the pier. Now he's swimming and he finds this like sewer pipe, right? And he finds it, and you can almost feel that motion when he's kind of grabbing and the rest of his body swings into spot right here. Again, it was captured really well in the movie. Very Dark Knight-ish over here. And if you haven't read Sin City, it's a really interesting set of stories because it feels like it takes place in the same time frame, meaning there are several different stories happening at the exact same time, kind of featuring different key players. And as the book goes on, you're going to see moments like inside of bars and whatnot where a bunch of different people might look across the bar and acknowledge each other. If you read one story and then you read another Sin City book, it might be from the perspective of the guy Marv's looking at, and then his story keeps continuing and, you know, obviously had a beginning. And sometimes they have collaboration moments and everything. So it's a really interesting concept, Sin City. A lot of different characters, a lot of bad guys, lots of evil in this city, obviously. And I like the way that they intertwined all the narratives to make one big complete story. This is another one that blew me away. Obviously, we're climbing up the side of this building right here, and in this version right here, you might be able to see some of these faint gray lines coming up like this. Of course, they're all erased after he does his final inking, but he has to get some kind of perspective, some kind of an idea of where his shadows need to go. And because he did that, man, he has a really cool result here, and you can still see these gray lines if you look hard enough. Really, really cool. It's one of my favorite shots right here, just from like a, I don't know, man, just from a creativity point of view. Got another great piece right here. This is where he's going to his parole officer, getting some advice from her, getting some more drugs, wrapping her up into the story as well. Again, the tile work and everything, incredible. Great with silhouettes, obviously. Marv with his bandages. Kind of getting her wrapped into the story at this point. Probably an Ames guide on the letters as well. If you look closely, you can see several different horizontal lines, and those horizontal lines, they stack in a very specific order, so they know exactly where loops need to be, where letters need to end halfway, you know, for H's or something like that. So really good technique for proper hand lettering. Really, really cool. Again, you can see it really clearly over here if you're able to zoom in a little bit. Some more, possibly some filler pages. I can't quite remember. There, this is a great scene too. Of course, here's that splash page we saw when we opened up the book a little bit ago. This is a great shot. He's inside of this bedroom here, and there's a plane hanging up, a little model plane you can imagine hanging from the ceiling, and then you have the city lights or the moonlight or whatever it is creeping in from across the room, casting this shadow that not only just is cast across the room, but it's across the floor and then up the wall, and then it arcs as well. So it's really brilliant. And of course, he captures Marv's little shadow behind that as well. So man, just so much detail in this book. It's incredible. Some pages are a little bit more reduced, like this one here compared to this one. This one's also super clean, so it's probably the scan of it, right? You know, like a more cleaned up version of the scan. This right here, you can see like chips missing, and it's just dirty, you know, when he was working on it. So I just like that version a lot better, I think. Very cool. I don't know what happened here. You can see a faint 4 in the middle, and then you see this bigger 4 here. I think this is going to be a splash page or a chapter break, something like that, or an issue number, and they wanted it more prominent, I would imagine. Lots of narration down the side here. This is a common theme you're going to see in a lot of Frank Miller work. You'll have this big panel, and then of course you'll have this big narration on the side, kind of recapping where we are and kind of setting the stage of where we're going to go. Beautiful shot here too. I talked about the brickwork in the a few pages ago. This is really insane. Just a better version of what we saw before. It's almost like an optical illusion how well it's done. And man, it's like perfect. Again, you can see lots of lines helping him draw this out, right? Very cool. You know, and again, if you're not too familiar with Frank Miller's work, man, he did Ronin back in the early 80s. That was a 6-issue mini. It actually took a couple of years to complete, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, you know, something like 20 months or whatever it ended up being. Very, very interesting. But he also worked over in Marvel and DC. Of course, he was all over Daredevil and Born Again, which is, you know, considered a masterpiece at this stage. And of course, he did Dark Knight Returns back in the late 80s. And, you know, completely changed the way that we look at Batman. And not only that, but he also did Batman Year One, which is considered kind of the turning point in any kind of modern Batman persona, right? Here's good old Nancy doing her thing at the bar. Again, I mentioned a couple times, or I mentioned once before, that in certain bar scenes right here, you might have this perspective that Marv has with Nancy, but then you might have another character at the same bar having their own adventure right now, witnessing this exact same moment, but then we follow them. So again, it's a pretty cool storytelling technique there to, you know, kind of build out your story, build out your city a little bit more. Another example of him kind of pasting pages together, some tape, some more of that whiteout treatment over here. I think these are filler pages as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just trying a little bit different techniques. Look at these brush strokes. Solid with that. You can almost imagine some kind of a fine tooth brush going right to there. Maybe some kind of paper or something so he butts up against it to create that clean line maybe. Certainly over here, I can't imagine, you know, hand doing that. So he has some kind of a wavy paper he's meeting that against. Very cool. Over here too. This looks like pure whiteout over here. It's so great. So Marv gets picked up by some gangsters. Still on the run, trying to get some information. Of course, Marv, you know, he kind of fakes the guys out. Yeah, I'll come with you. Sure. And then as soon as he gets to the alleyway, he takes them all out right here. Shoots them. Shoots a guy in the stomach. Marv's coat's all bashed up, and I remember him talking to him over here. Man, that's a nice coat. Taking him out. And this is a great scene. Somebody that we think is Goldie kind kind of creeping in the shadows, looking at Marv, saying, I'm going to pay, you're going to pay for what you did to me. Whatever hallucination he has about, you know, he thinks that it might be Goldie. He's blaming it up to the meds right here. There's some in the margin pencil work right here. I don't really see too much in here. It looks like that angle, small below once, something crazy, medic. It might be dialogue that he put in the margin right here. I can't exactly make it out. It might be like handwritten notes for this part right here. Then the damnedest thing happened. Yep, that's exactly what it is. This is little handwritten in pencil notes of the dialogue box right here. So that's cool. Lots of whiteout up in the hair right here. Very cool. Great little splash page for issue number 5. Again, look at that. That light coming through and that thick shadow line right there. That's really cool. Kind of adds to the weight of the character, right? If he, you know, had his coat up a little bit and he had a more realistic shadow behind him, a little bit more figured, you know what I mean? Instead of this black line, I don't think it would have had as much weight, of course, because of just the pattern we got going on here, the geometry there. Really cool. Classic shot right here. We saw that on the Dark Horse Presents cover for number 5. Again, kind of tossing and turning. Cool shot through the window. he's going around. This is a funny scene. It's actually in the movie as well. I think Brittany Murphy's character, her boyfriend or the mob boss that she's dealing with, or it was a crooked cop, right? That he's dealing with, gets a swirly. Of course, Marv with that smile. Look at that, jumping out the window after you got some information. Another cool shot right here. We talked about shadows previously. It's almost like a light source from top, from like some kind of a floodlight or some kind of a helicopter or something like that, running through the alley. And the only thing you see is the white through the bricks of the shadow of him, right? That is so cool the way he did that. Very, very beautiful. Dragging a guy through the concrete as well while he's driving. Again, that was in the movie. Getting some confessions from people. And this is so cool as well. The gun silhouette through here with the blam. Blam. Very cool. Amen. So cool. Issue number 7. We got some cool cars too. I think I remember hearing an interview, or maybe I was reading it in the Miller Eisner book. He was talking about cars, and so he was saying that once he realized he had to draw cars a certain way, and they always had to be in the air or screeching or something like that, it was like the only way to draw a car to really show how fast it's going or something like that. So he had to make it come alive, you know what I mean? And I just love that most of the time you see a car in Sin City, at least 2 tires are off the ground. And in this case, you know, there are the side tires here. And then we got the front, of course, over in this spot. This is a cool thing right here too, like the tire tread. He puts a little bit of white in there just to kind of break this all up and to show you that depth right there, because it creates depth between the bottom of the car and the tire itself. Cool little ad right there. Again, we're talking about shadows being cast. This is that Goldie impersonator. We think it's Goldie. He even says Goldie when he looks at her coming at him with the car. Shooting at him, he's getting bounced around a whole lot. He still thinks it's Goldie, the girl that he was with the night before, who was killed in bed. Can we get that blam 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 with that white out? So cool. Thinking he's losing his mind right now. Different drugs and things. He's had a rough night. He's been shot at. He's been beaten up. All right, he's heading over to the farm. He got some leaked information that he needs to go to this kill farm, essentially. Now, I don't know what this brown is over here. It might be some kind of like Mod Podge or something like that, but it doesn't make sense to me why it exists, where it exists up here. So I'm not too sure what that could possibly be. It's not whiteout, or maybe it's old whiteout that has just kind of, I don't know, spoiled or something like that. That might be it. This like wild wolf comes up to them. He goes, I don't want to fight, Pooch. Of course, he jumps at him and Marv gives him a quick uppercut. This is that really creepy scene right here, creeping up. I think Elijah Wood played this character in the movie. Yeah, look at that stare. Wearing those chucks. Really agile, very fast, very sneaky. I think he's trying to put some stuff together here. Like, okay, it's impossible. Nobody can sneak up on me. And I think he's putting it together through this fight that you must have killed Goldie because you're able to sneak into that room, take her out, and then leave without anybody noticing. So I think he's trying to put this stuff together. Meanwhile, he can't even land a single blow. He's getting kicked in the head. He's getting scratched, pressure points, knocking the gun out of his hands, missing, and all of a sudden, dude's got a sledgehammer. Knocks our guy out. Cool splash page. Again, here's that classic shot again. Opening scene, issue number 9, long narrative right here, kind of giving you catching you up to where we are. And all of a sudden he's with this parole officer locked up in like this little dungeon right here with the heads of all these girls that guy has murdered already. Great casting for this character as well in the movie. They did a really great job with that. I think all the casting was perfect that they did. So cool. They hear all the screams. He actually took her hand before Marv could wake up. Just kind of taking her apart. Marv's trying to rip down the doors, trying to get out of here. She's basically losing her mind right now, saying, "No, we're all dead. We're all going to die." Some other people join outside. Some more great shots. Kind of sharpening these palm trees right here, the ferns. Even does wood really well. A lot of the things we've seen so far, this kind of stands out because everything we've seen so far is very grid-like, you know, all the different bricks and whatnot. And then you get this cool tropical scene here, and then you get this wood grain, which adds a little bit, just like a different feel to what we've seen so far. And again, shots like this blow my mind because, again, it's about perspective. So you can imagine being like underneath a staircase that's winding up behind you. Of course, you're going to have shadows cast in the way they're being cast here. And we get a little bit of help with the white mortar and the bricks here to kind of break this up. Otherwise, this would be solid black and it wouldn't be great, right? So we just know when to use shadows so efficiently in these stories. Very cool. Marv going insane trying to get through the door. Again, here's that. We've seen this a couple times before, but just another treatment of it in a different room, different setting. Still as effective though. Marv continuing not to give up, trying to bust through this door physically. Eventually getting through. Hearing a helicopter coming. Here's that staircase that I think we saw earlier, right? The perspective was behind over here last time, so that's kind of cool. Marv finding his gun. All these other badasses are showing up right now. Then this parole officer thinking she can tap into the humanity of the people coming over here, knocking Marv out, trying to say, "Listen to me, I'm his parole officer, all this stuff, thank you, ma'am," whatever. Meanwhile, they turn right over to her with an Uzi and light her right up, man. They're not here to, they don't care if she's a parole officer, they're just here to wipe people out. Of course, Marv can't do anything about it, grabbing a nearby hatchet, running into the game right now. And basically, man, just taking out all these different guys. The next few panels are going to be him with an axe, just blowing everybody away. This is another great shot right here. The main guy that took out his friend, parole officer, a second ago with that Uzi, shooting at Marv, trying to take him out before he takes out his guys. The light reflection of the Uzi casting a shadow of the hatchet against the tree behind him. And then not only that, but taking out a chunk of the tree at the same time. Just crazy good. Great shot right there. When I first read this, I'm like, oh, he's definitely dead, right? He's got an Uzi blowing it right at him. Meanwhile, he's jumping right at the guy. You know, I guess taking him out without taking any shots, I suppose. Again, just dismantling this SWAT team or whoever they are. And again, here's that line that there's one damn fine coat you're wearing. So we know exactly where that's going to go. Great shot right here. I think this was a Dark Horse Presents as well. Again, with that 8 blowing up. This time looks like he cut out a whole new one or drew a whole new one and just taped it right on top or glued it on top. There's also, I think there's reduction rates on here too, because it says 60%. So I would imagine what that would mean is you got to shrink this down 60%, whatever it is, to fit the actual page. So there's some markings on here for that. There's also some borders drawn on some of these pages right across here, some guidelines, right? So you don't go right to the edge. Now these next few pages, lots of heavy blacks, lots of whiteout, because we're going to get into this rain scene, you know, when he's kind of learned who's at the top of this whole gang, this whole conspiracy that he's fighting against. And it's like a high level religious guy. And so we're going to be visiting some monuments, but we get a little bit of a hint of where we're going. And it's a cool progression because we have a little bit of rain. It starts to downpour. And of course we get some cityscapes, we get some bridges and things like that. So really, really cool. Again, like we saw before, lots of narration on the side. This is actually pasted in. He did this somewhere else and just kind of taped it in place. Classic shots right here. This is amazing. So I talked about the technique on Nancy before where he probably got a piece of paper and cut it a certain way and then used it as a blocker and then just started there and dragged off. You know what I mean? And that's probably how he created these lines so sharp right here and then they fade off to the side. And then, I mean, you know, these lines here are amazing as well because you can start in that white and drag them out. I don't know what kind of brush. This is incredible work though. So cool. And again, he had to layer this so many times because there's this solid black line here that he had to create probably on top of these white lines, and he had to do white lines on top of it. So there's all these layers of line work that's just absolutely incredible. And you get this splash off effect, right? The splash off effect from this rain. It's like misting off of them, and there's a light coming from this side. So cool. Like a lightning flash, only covering half the face. Jeez. Get some more treatment here. Him walking in the rain, like that upward, downward shot. So cool. Back shot, side of the face, hitting off the shoulder. Incredible work there. Looking up at this monument to this guy who's so corrupt. Rourke, I think. Patrick Henry. Rourke. So cool. Now, if you have the Dark Horse Presents issues and you're looking at this, it looks way different because of the reduction. When you reduce this down, all this white haze that you see here just kind of blends all together. You don't get the crispness that you do in this Curator's edition, which is what makes this book really something else to look at. Because none of these scenes are as crisp as they are inside of this version right here. So if you're really into those issues, I highly recommend picking this up because it's worth it just for these shots alone. Shooting that statue right in the center, right between the eyes, saying, "I'm coming for you." So now we get some of the girls of Old Town in here. Episode 12, Frank Miller. We got our Goldie. You can't be Goldie. You can't be Goldie. Goldie's dead. Getting shot, grazed in the head. Now he's tied up in Old Town with the gals there. Rough group of gals. They run that place. The cops aren't allowed in there. They have some kind of a deal going on. They do their business. Cops don't interfere. Of course, he's kind of being interrogated right now. What is he doing around here? You have all the different girls around him here. I think he recognizes one of their names. One of them is called Wendy. Then we realize here that Goldie was her twin sister. And so she's trying to figure out why he killed her. He was, you know, in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think they learned through a series of events here and conversations that he was really being used as protection, and that she was kind of taken out for other reasons. And I think she's starting to play along with it right here. And basically, Marv was able to undo his restraints whenever he wanted to, but he felt like he needed to be punished almost in a way. And he was getting information from these girls at the same time. So why not stick around, man? He could take it for sure. Saying here, "I don't hurt girls." Great shot here again. Possibly another filler page, most certainly. Book number 13. Great silhouette shot here with the drapes and that light coming from the back. Of course, everything in front of you looking inward would be dark. Light coming in from the side, so it's lighting up Marv, lighting up the back here. Very cool. We could have used some accent here maybe, because you see the silhouette, but it'd be kind of neat to have a couple little lines here to kind of break it out, but still looks amazing. Again, cars, all four tires, all four tires. This one's leaning hard over here. Up, all four tires off. Oh, we're finally stopped. Yeah, I think because we are where we need to be here. Lots of heavy white out. Just kind of make those stray hairs pop out. Again, like cigarettes. Marv and Wendy kind of hanging out right now. He's doing everything he can possibly do to not think that that's Goldie in his delusional haze and going through withdrawals of his medication. Going absolutely nuts. I think she actually gives him an opportunity over here too, but I think he turns it down, not realizing, or just trying to respect that situation he's in. Loading up on some stuff, going on their revenge mission, barbed wire saw, gas, barbed wire proof gloves, hatchet, and my mitts to all four tires off the ground. Going back out, I think going back to that farm place, gonna go round two. He definitely got the upper hand, so he's rigging the whole wooded area outside, man. He's putting that razor wire all over the place, setting all these traps, getting all this gas ready, lighting it, throwing it. He's kind of spying on him right now. So his thing right now is he's going to draw this dude out, get him into the woods where there's razor wire everywhere, and then Marv's going to be ready for round two. Of course, throws that gas can in there. Dude jumps out of the building, though, just missing the explosion. And of course, he's landed kind of like a predator, right, on the prowl, about to run through. And of course, you can see all this razor wire all over the place, kind of showing you how dangerous this would be. Super agile, man. Of course, he handcuffs some stuff too, because in the previous battle, this dude would just kind of run all over Marv and he couldn't figure out where he was going to. So now his idea is, you know what, I'm gonna put one handcuff on me. As soon as I get close, I'm gonna handcuff him. He can't go anywhere at that point. Dodging a jump kick right now, setting up some kind of decoy with his coat. Of course, that's when he goes in for the kill right here. Couple missteps. Couple kicks in the gut, things like that. With his little Charlie Brown shirt. Crazy little Harry Potter glasses. But eventually, snap. He's got those cuffs on him. Now he can't go anywhere. Saying right here, gotcha, you bastard. Let's see how you hop around now. Still kicking in though. Still got some kicks in there. But eventually, one punch, man. That's all you got to take. Wendy coming in here thinking she can finish the job. Marv, she's an innocent girl. She doesn't need to be involved in this. He needs to take care of this. He's got it from here. Of course, when our dude wakes up, no arms, no legs, still that creepy little smile right here. He put tourniquets on all of his wounds using that saw because he remembered last time he was in that woods. Here's that hungry wolf, man. And Marv just sits there and watches that wolf take him apart, saying he doesn't scream. That was a rough part of that movie and this book. So he finishes the job with that hacksaw, taking care of him. Of course, we get some more Nancy action here, not at the bar though, back at her place. Getting patched up. He's got some more things to take care of. He's got one final guy to attack. Some infiltration scenes here. Marv on the rooftops, very Dark Knight-esque. Taking out just, your everyday guards hiding in the bushes. Cool shot right here again with that. You know exactly what kind of tile that is for that rooftop. Some tile you see down south, like in Florida, whatnot, or maybe even out west. Get that layered tile, you know what I mean? So that shadow casting is absolutely perfect to get that illusion. Some more shots of that from different angles. Pretty cool. Great little bell in the back, or in the foreground rather. Showing the main guy, the religious guy, his little pet. Marv took care of him. Don't scream or I'll plug you. But he was very, very sad that his little buddy was taken out. Of course, here's those cops again. Very similar idea. Spiral staircase, probably stone, so it's not that old shitty apartment complex style. So same exact idea, but just handled a little bit differently. Of course, Marv here, he's basically choking out, just completely demolishing this priest guy. And of course, that's when the goons come in, they see him, and they just light him up right here. Interesting spot right here. They light him up, and yet they rush him to the hospital to kind of keep him alive right now. Rush him to the hospital to get better, and you have all these wires and things like that. Of course, after he goes to rehab and everything, he gets taken out to this one area where all these goons are because they want their revenge on him. So basically, they kept him alive just to kill him, beat him, and kill him again. Falsely accused. Gets the book thrown at him. Sitting here in jail. Cool bars right here as well. But at the end of the day, he ended up taking out most of the traitors. There's some goons and stuff left and some crooked politicians and whatnot, but at the end of the day, he definitely got them. Then you have Wendy coming in one last time. Coming in for a conjugal visit. You can call me Goldie. And they have their little moment over here. And then here's a great scene. Marv going to the electric chair. Got to meet his maker. Cool progression, obviously. Sitting in the chair. Get a move on, I ain't got all night. That's what he tells him. Yes, sir. Flips the switch, and we get this awesome skeleton shot right here. So cool. All that energy just popping out of his bones. Crazy. Of course, it didn't do it the first time. Just sitting here laughing, calling them pansies, and boom, they hit him again. Different shot, way more voltage. And there's that death stare right there. So that's the end of our boy. Of course, cool shot backing out. He's gone with the end. Worth dying for, worth killing for, worth going to hell for. Great shot right here. With a little splash of red here, man, just makes that so much better. Of course, Marv's just covered in blood. So cool. And then here's all your Dark Horse Presents shots right here. So I've been trying to collect a lot of these as well. I think I have several, like those up here. I'm missing a few of these, but I have a couple of these as well. I've never seen this one, that homage cover. That's really cool. And I have this one as well. So cool. Of course, we have so many people collaborating on this and putting out solicitations and whatever, right? Just kind words about the impact that this book has made on, you know, just like whole comic culture to begin with. And storytelling. It's just absolutely brilliant that so many people came together to say such nice things about all this. And so this is a bunch of extra work. These are a bunch of like either commissions or whatever else. There's some citations for the different pages that were used from Dark Horse Presents. So we can flip through some of these as well. Again, beautiful shot, 91. It's crazy good. Fighting like this twisted nun. This is Dark Horse Presents 55 cover. Dark Horse 56 cover. It's a partial cover, it says right here. It's been covered up. Marv walking all over these guys, presumably with his brand new coat, right? From that one scene in the beginning. Dark Horse 61. Wow, some more great shots. Sin City cover 3rd printing. It says hardcover. I don't know. And then, wow, a great little final shot right here of Marv in the chair. Really great. So when they put books together like this too, even add in like these little bits up here, really cool. It adds a lot of aesthetic to the book. Then we get some cool roughs over here. Look at that, some early line work. Again, here's that Ames guide. You can probably see the horizontal lines right here by now. So cool. Even the roughs look good. Oh, here's more of those lines of perspective and light lines and whatnot. Some more cover work Cover headshot for number 7. Dark Horse 56. Sin City number 4. Sin City number 3. Some more dialogue from Frank, talking about the writing process. If it's a dialogue scene, I like to write the dialogue first and then add the pictures. If it's an action scene, I do the action and throw the exclamations or sound effects down. If it's 2 pages where people are just talking with really nothing going on, I try to make something interesting out of it, like put them in a car, have wind blowing in their hair, things like that, which we saw in the previous one, smoking a cigarette, things like that. So it's really cool that he takes all those different perspectives into account whenever, you know, based on what the scene is showing. So neat. And here's a great little page to kind of close it up on. Again, using that line work here, that extra page to make these nice clean cuts. And boom, there's your Dark Horse Presents cover. So cool. Man, this book was incredible. And again, it's gigantic in size. So, oh, can't leave without this page here. Roughing up those 2 guys in the alleyway. Take it off. What? So cool. This book is amazing. It's huge. It's gigantic. It is well put together. I love the fact that you get these rough scans so you can get to see all the lines. You get to see all the creative choices. I'm not going to call them mistakes. Creative choices, right? With all the whiteout and the perspective shots and all this. It's just amazing what he's able to do here. And so many people chimed in and provided their 2 cents on the impact that he's made, the impact that this book has made. And man, what a great little collection right here. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, this is pretty much a must-have for all Sin City fans. Not that expensive either. I think it goes on sale on Amazon pretty frequently. I think it's been on sale twice since I picked it up for around the same price. So if you're into artisan editions, first off, this is way larger than an artisan edition, at least the ones that I have. And it's very comprehensive, very well done. And it can also double as a load-bearing wall in case of emergency too. So guys, make sure to check this one out. I hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification to be alerted when I put out a new video. Thanks again. See you in the comments.